Welcome back to They're Not Bad, the podcast whose name is They're Not Bad. That's our podcast, They're Not Bad. We're coming to you Sunday, January 10th, day before we play DePaul for the second time this season. And we have a little bit of recap. We have a big past two games. We played Marquette coming in a big bad at speaking. Big comeback win against Marquette. And then Butler, I think we handled pretty well. Let's get right into the Marquette game. Now, I just want to toot my own horn here. I never gave up hope. I said this is right. The first half, the group chat was very in despair, I'd say. They did not seem very confident. There was a lot of harsh things said, and I was just saying, it's okay. It's going to be all right. And it ended up being all right. And people might say, that's stupid, Jack. You can't just say because you had hope means you were right. We were in a bad spot. But I kept hope. And that helped, definitely. That definitely is what helped. Tyler Polley scored 23 points in the second half, tying Marquette's total. And I think that was a big win for us.
Yeah, no.
Follow up there. Should not have won the game.
Maybe not by 11. Being down 18 and then winning by double digits makes it seem like we were doing well that game. I mean, that first half was abysmal offensively. I remember texting multiple times that it looked like nobody had a brain. Like, where did our brains go? But in the second half, Tyler Polley had a gigantic brain. That man went unconscious. Like, I swear, it could have been like the spirit of Kobe Bryant just entered this man's body because he was just doing everything and he just was the best player on the floor. And I was like, where's this Tyler Polley been for like 3 years? And I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
He was ice water.
Yeah, dude, that man from the corner, oh, my God, he was loving that spot.
That last three he hit that game was just ridiculous because it was just like he already was hitting every single shot, and that one was just like a dagger.
It was honestly disrespectful. If I was Marquette, I'd feel so disrespected. He was wide open, one of them, and then this guy in his face, and he doesn't care. Like, that guy could have been 8 feet tall. Wouldn't have mattered.
He picked up right where he left off on Butler. I mean, I think his first three was banked in, and that's just a sign of you can't miss. You literally cannot miss. He could throw the worst shot in the world. It would go in. He just can't miss.
He hit 9 straight threes in between the Marquette and Butler games. I think he hit his last 4 of the Marquette game and the first 5 of Butler.
Yeah, no, I believe you're right. Also, okay, so big conspiracy coming up from me. Dan Hurley, does he do witchcraft? Now, just hear me out. He calls practice a cauldron of intensity. Then all of a sudden, James Bouknight gets hurt, right? Goes out of the game. Doesn't come back. But then Tyler Polley starts playing like James Bouknight. Did he perform a blood ritual in which they swapped souls? So now James Bouknight is secretly in Tyler Polley's body. Somebody please answer me. I'm wondering.
Luke, I'm going to give this to you.
I'm going to say no, but if you were correct, I would not mind if James Bouknight came back a little taller and was just banging threes like Tyler Polley originally did.
just he stays hurt the whole year and just keep performing and just keep swapping bodies with other people. Dude, he uses the pump. I mean, what happened to Tyler Polley? Is he just roided up? Like, this dude just can't miss.
He had this potential last year against Florida. We saw with that 8 unanswered, a 3, a 2, and then another 3, all within a minute. Gamble erupted. I was sitting next to Luke, and we're going absolutely nuts. He's always had this in him. I think just with Bouknight out, and there was no guy. Like, that's the thing. Bouknight's our guy, and Bouknight's not on the court, so someone's got to be that guy, and Polley stepped up big.
True. It almost looked like he felt responsible for the game that Bouknight was out. And I mean, honestly, he performed for it. So, if he becomes the guy when Bouknight's on not on the floor to get the shots, I'm super okay with it. Also, speaking to Butler a little bit, Tyrese Martin quietly had another good game. He played well against Creighton or DePaul the first time, and then this game again. So, I mean, if it becomes a little more consistent, that's another guy. 15-7 is great stat line, honestly. He does a lot of the dirty work too, and I love that.
The only thing is he can't make anything within 5 feet. It's kind of unreal. He's shooting 30% from within 5 feet. So the offensive rebounds obviously do help, but it would be great if he could score from there. But again, I think he was maybe the best player last night against Butler, if not 2. But he's definitely going to help down the stretch because you watch the game, and I don't know how, but he's always under the basket. And
yes,
not a lot of guys who like to rebound on our team, at least offensively. And it always seems like he's coming up with the ball.
I love him as the third guard, like in that lineup, because he like I said before, he does like the dirty work. He's like that guy that's just like he's gonna beat you to balls and rebounds just because he's just working so much harder for it than you are. Like people just kind of sleep on it, and he's just all over the floor. Like, and he's kind of big for a guard, to be honest. He kind of muscles people around, which is good because if he's just gonna sit in the middle like that and just get putbacks, I mean, you kind of need that size.
Can I say one thing that upsets me about him?
Absolutely.
So with Sanogo and Brendan Adams, they can't keep their shirts tucked in. You know how that's like annoying.
Oh, you remember when I brought that up? I don't know dude, untucked jerseys make you look like you're terrible at basketball. I swear to God, I've thought about this forever. I can't change my mind. If you untuck your jersey, you're bad. I'm sorry, dude. Tuck the jersey in.
So my issue with Tyrese Martin is the shooting sleeve he wears. The tag is always on the outside.
Gross.
He must do it on purpose.
It infuriates me.
It's probably a superstitious thing. I bet you it is.
Or maybe it's just uncomfortable on his skin.
Yeah,
there's no way he does that by accident.
I wouldn't blame him, but it infuriates me that it's on the outside. So if he ever comes on the pod, I'm gonna have to bring that up.
Oh, definitely.
We're for sure addressing that. If this man's jersey comes untucked, I will address it as well. Hey, dude, why don't you keep your jersey tucked in? It's just because their jerseys are made to be tucked in, so they're really long. So when they're untucked, it just looks like they're wearing like a dress, like a sundress. And
basketball players are like thin, so like usually, for the most part, so the jerseys like the form fit kind of is weird when it's untucked.
Yeah.
And just going back to Martin on the offensive glass, I just think his athleticism really shines through there because he just gets in there and like Ian was saying, like he's big for a guard. He like is able to muscle in there and he just goes up and like other people just aren't going up. Like he's not like really he sometimes gets boards over people, but a lot of times it's just like no one else is going up for it as hard as he is. So he's the only one there. And I think that just goes to show how athletic our team is. I know I say we're the best team in the country, but I think for by a fact, you could like show me a more athletic team. Like for just our strength conditioning is crazy. We're so athletic. And to speak of someone who's super athletic, Isaiah Whaley on the defensive end, he is everywhere. He can jump with anyone. He doesn't let people back him down, and he has really quick hands, and that's why he gets so many blocks because he's able to get it before they go up and over it. And I just think we're the most so much saliva, the most athletic team in the country. And that's where we're gonna win the national championship.
True. No, he definitely he actually out hustles to a point where it makes like a big difference, which is really good. I agree.
I mean, if we're going to talk Whaley, we need to talk about him hedging screens. It's like the best thing in the world. And he always he always swats down to strip the ball, and it works. Like it shouldn't work, but it works like 3 times a game.
Quick hands.
That's like quick hands. Yeah, he does. He could throw hands.
I think quick hands is like a stupid compliment, but if you were to give it to someone, it's Isaiah Whaley. He has quick hands. Also, at the end of that Butler game, like he played good all game, but at the end when he just started blocking shots and just screaming in people's faces.
Yeah, that was awesome. He was also getting fired up.
He hit a 3 in the past 2 games as well. He had one against Marquette and one against Butler. Whaley and Polley, new Splash Brothers.
That 3 against Butler, he literally was like trying to pass it for like 4 seconds. He looked up, saw one second, and just chucked it. And cashed it too. I think I laughed out loud watching that. It was so funny.
The 3 against Marquette was cold though. Like the pass fake. And just money, and it was cold. And Polley had made one, I think, a possession or 2 before, and it was just demoralizing.
He knew no one was going to guard him at the 3 line because he like never. I mean, he's like Ben Simmons. He just does not shoot threes. So he just stood there, and he was ready. He wanted to shoot that against Marquette.
How dare you call Isaiah Whaley Ben Simmons? How dare you?
That might be a compliment. Yeah, that might be a pretty good compliment if he was actually like as good as Ben Simmons.
But Dan Hurley did say he has the green light to shoot 2 to 3 threes during a game. Just recently gave Tyler Polley the quote-unquote ultimate green light. So
I did see that. Yeah, this man, he said pull up from anywhere, dude.
Speaking of green lights, a cook getting some playing time against Butler. Really nice to see him back on the court.
Dude, all that matters is he dunked over Butler. That's all that matters. Great game already. Doesn't matter what else he did. That dunk, nice.
Dan Hurley said that we'll see his minutes gradually increase, but would love to see him play more than 2 minutes. I was happy to see him on the court, and even though he wasn't really a factor by any means, I would have loved to him just stay on the court.
No, yeah, I'm with you. Also, I kept seeing pictures of he put on a lot of weight. This dude is still the skinniest guy on the court by far. I was like, did it really make that big of a difference? I was like, dude, this guy's gonna be jacked.
Well,
he's gonna be crazy.
He's got Jeremy Lamb muscles. When you're looking far away, his arms are too long to see muscles, and they zoom in up close, and you're like, oh my god.
No, yeah, he's got the chest popping, but his legs are still the size of my pinky finger.
Well, yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's where the injury was. It's tough to get those muscles.
Dude's got to do some hit the squat rack a little bit next offseason.
Trust me, you got to zoom in. That guy's got big muscles. I promise.
All right, next time I'll zoom in my TV when they play DePaul tomorrow. Staring at Cook's muscles.
All right, well, tell me about DePaul, Ian. Give me some.
Let's get the rundown on DePaul. Playing him tomorrow night. Just a quick little reference for Ken Pom. Currently, Connecticut 22, very good. DePaul is 91st. For reference, Butler is 88th, and they were 86th when we played them. So relatively, Ken Pom power ranking wise, almost the same. They're pretty balanced OD-wise, offense slightly better than defense. I believe Butler was the other way around, but they're both pretty balanced. They don't really lack super hard in any area. Now, looking betting lines, it's UConn -5. It opened at 4.5. My suspicion is that it's going to go to 6.5. So when we make our predictions here, I would say do it thinking about UConn -6 and not -5, because I think that's going to be more accurate come game time. And the over-under is 140. But Jack, let me know what you think for this game.
For this game, so I think a big factor is too something that we didn't mention it beforehand, but I'm assuming Book Knight is probably still going to be out. He obviously didn't play against Butler because of a wrist. What's the actual injury? Did they talk about it?
Hyperextension of his elbow.
Hyperextension of his elbow?
It's really not too bad, luckily. He landed on it weird, but hyperextension is not that bad. I've done that a couple times. It really is just a lot of irritation more than anything.
I would still sit him because I think we're playing well enough and we've already beaten DePaul. So I think that it's a safe sit, not, underestimating DePaul, but I think we are capable. And with a Cook back in the lineup, maybe he gets 10 minutes. That just gives some more, more playing time. So there's less minutes for everyone having to play for load management. But we're in a real athletic team. I think our guards can play a lot of minutes, so it's okay. I think even with Book Knight out, Polley finding his stride, Whaley also doing well offensively, Tyrese Martin really coming into his own. And there's still a lot of backup role guys we got there doing well. Carlton's playing really well. I think that we're going to win. I think we're going to cover. And I'm going to say I was wrong on the over against Marquette, but I do think we hit this over. This over is a bit less than the Marquette over. This is 140, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take cover and over. Roll Huskies.
All right, Luke. Give it to me straight.
I'm very bad at betting the games. We've learned that.
Actually, just to interrupt you real quick, now that you mention it, looking at standings for the year, I've been keeping track. Jack is 4-2. He pushed a bet or two, so he has one less. Luke, you and I are 4-3, so we're tied for the most right. Which you're actually over 500. And then Lewis 3-1. Obviously, he's missed some, but 3-1. So. Not bad. Actually, not bad to ride with the they're not bad boys if you're putting some picks in on college basketball games. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to mention that.
Units.
Get back at it.
Okay, so the two things I have learned in our short time on the pod and betting the games is that UConn's better than I think. I'm a very pessimistic person. And the second thing I've learned is that we can't score points, but we play good defense. So that's a lock for the under every time. Off the top of my head, I would say, how many games have we played? 6? We're 5-1.
We're 6-1. We played 7
Okay,
games.
so we played 7 games. Of those 7 games, probably hit the over once. And I know that's a fact. You don't even have to check that. It's a fact. So I'm going to take the under off the premise that we play great defense, but we're also very bad at scoring the basketball. Okay. And then I'm going to say we win because we've learned that we can beat bad teams. And DePaul really hasn't played much, but off of that 20-point win, we're covering and we're beating them bad. A little less of a margin this time. I think we win by 9, 10, 11, but still cover.
Okay, so you still like UConn -6, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I think we're going to consensus UConn -6. I looked at that and I was like, this is strangely low considering we've beaten DePaul by 21 already, and it really wasn't that long ago. I mean, no book night probably brings it down a couple points. I also think the other factor is it's their 3rd away game in a row. And that's notoriously, like in sports, tough on teams. But I'm still going to take it at 6. I would say I wouldn't touch DePaul till it gets to 9 or 10. But I am also going under 140. I think it's going to look a lot like the Butler game. Like we're going to control the ball, play to our defense, and then hopefully two guys step up in scoring like Polley and Martin, which I think they can. And also to your point of we play really good defense. We are the 24th ranked defense according to Ken Palm. So we do play very good defense. 29th offense for reference. So our strength is defense more than offense. So I'm going under as well with you, Luke. So we got all of us are taking UConn -6. Jack is on the over, and Luke and I are on the under. So that is our picks for the DePaul game. Do we have any other thoughts on the game?
I'm going to look for someone to step up, obviously, with Book Night if he's out. But even if he's in, Jack named 3 guys off the top of his head: Tyrese Martin, Polley, and Whaley. I think those are the clear 3 guys who are carrying the team right now, with or without Book Night. They'd obviously be 4 with Book Night. But I'm looking for a guy to step up because seen glimpses of RJ Cole, seen glimpses of Carlton. But other than that, really don't have another guy who is really pulling the weight. So say Polley and Tyrese have a bad day. We can't just have Whaley score 20, have blocks and like 10 rebounds. Like we need someone else to step up, and it doesn't look like we have a 5th guy right now.
Call someone out. Let's all call someone out to step up. Who do we think is going to step up tomorrow? Who do we want to see step up? Luke, who do you want to see? You pick one guy that's not those 3.
I want RJ Cole to have less than 2 turnovers, more than 6 assists. I want 15 points.
15 points, 6 assists, less than 2 turnovers. High expectations, but I mean it's DePaul, so I could see it.
He can do it. Like he needs to prove that he's the guy that we got from Howard. Like he needs to prove who he really is.
I like it. Honestly, the biggest thing, if Martin and Polley are scoring like that, I really like that 6 assists, less than 2 turnovers. If this dude can dish the ball like that, like consistently with Book Night, Polley, and Martin in the lineup, our offense would be actually lethal. Like you want to double team Book, then Polley's either open on the arc or Martin's open cutting across the hoop. Like I like that a lot. Player to step up, I'm going with Adama Sanogo. This man has shown flashes of actually being very good, a guy you can rely to post up because he actually has an offensive game, and sometimes he backs people down and looks like he's just dominating them, and other times he just looks like he's rushing himself and he's just kind of like too frantic. Also a guy that untucks his jersey. Tucking your jersey, big untucked jersey guy. But I want him to have like a balanced game. I want to see like 10 points, 10 boards. He doesn't need to score like crazy. He doesn't need to just 10 points, 10 boards. Give me an Isaiah Whaley stat line on Adama Sanogo, and then I'm all in on him.
I want to see Jalen Gaffney step up. And what I want from him isn't a crazy ask. I want a total of 13 points and assists. Add up his points and assists in 13, and you -1 for a turnover. So that's what I want. So that's what I want. So
give me 15.
What? Make it 15?
Yeah.
I want him to have 15 total points and assists, and that's if you get a turnover -1. I think he can do it. He's a really smart guy. I think sometimes when stuff goes on, he gets a little bit – I don't know if it's lost, but there's a lot of times where it's like kind of crucial in games where he makes really good decisions. Against Crane, for example, there was some stuff going on where everyone's thinking we were going to take a 3, and he just immediately drove and got a quick 2, like right away when we were like fouling them. he's a really smart player and he's a good passer. And I think he can really step up with some more minutes with Bouknight being out and also Polley making threes. And then, we're probably going to go in the paint a bit more since Bouknight's out and we got a cook back. Hopefully Gaffney gets some good looks and some good passes.
No, I like that. Dude, I feel like Gaffney's like faded into the background this year. When last year, like at the end of the year, he was on like the up and up, and I feel like a lot of people were excited about him. And now, like, when's the last time you heard his name like during a game? I don't know. It just seems like he's faded hard. So I like that. He's
real athletic too. And it's tough because he's a freshman, so it's always like, oh, your sophomore year is going to be better. But then you get these two transfers in. You get Tyrese Martin and R.J. Cole. It's a tough spot for him, but he's a tough guy that's going to stick it out. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him step up. Either if he doesn't step up fully tomorrow, I think he's going to have a good game tomorrow, but I'm going to see him step up as the season goes on. I think he's a clutch guy, to be honest. So I'm going to like to see what happens with that.
Yeah. Honestly, I like all our picks. I thought of all three of those players when you asked that question.
Can I add a fourth? I know it's going to take away from the whole
honorable
thing.
mention. Luke gets the honorable mention this pod. Right. Do it quick.
Me and Josh have had our back and forth. I think Carlton should be in the starting lineup. He played well against DePaul last time. I'm sorry, but I want him in the starting lineup. He deserves it.
I do too. Absolutely, I want Josh Carlton in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I'm okay with Carlton. I don't think a lot of people would disagree. I think last year people would have a problem with it, but I think this year he's more consistent. So,
and I want 10-5.
Fast break, Josh Carlton.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. Also, that was just the most randomly athletic play, like the most athletic thing I've ever seen him do. But let's go to our recurring segment. One last thing. Anything UConn related? One last thing. Jack, go first.
Just want to say rest in peace to DEE ROWE, UConn legend, whether it be through coaching, just a member of the community, big donor as well. I'm an education major, and he donated a lot to the NEAC program, which is education and sports management. One of the buildings is named after him. Without this pandemic, I'd actually be taking a bunch of classes in the ROWE building. And so just rest in peace to DEE ROWE and our thoughts with his family.
True. Luke, one last thing.
Jack went the sentimental route. I'm going to go opposite. Going to go over to the women's basketball side and just say I was very upset about the Baylor game being canceled. I was sad.
I was sad too. I agree. My one last thing is we need to schedule a game now that Villanova got postponed. It really screws our schedule hard, but if we can find a decent game, because we're kind of hot right now, get book ramped back up again before February, because then we have to play Marquette a second time, Nova and Creighton at the end of the month. I think he's going to need some games, especially if he doesn't play tomorrow. So Dan Hurley and Dave Benedict, get on it, dude. Find us a game. We could definitely find one.
When's the next game after tomorrow?
So it's like a week now. We were supposed to play Nova on the 15th, Friday night. I know. But now it's like the 18th, and it's St. John's, if I'm not mistaken.
The next Monday.
Yeah.
I have no clue how scheduling works or how they would do it or if they're going to do it. So what I'm going to say is really dumb. But two teams came to mind. First, UVM. I don't know why. I just want UVM. Give me the America East. The second one, give me that Richmond Spiders game that we wanted to get earlier in the year. Give me the Richmond Spiders. I don't know what their schedule looks like. I don't know anything about scheduling and how to reschedule games, but give me the Richmond Spiders.
The Richmond Spiders would be good. Also, shout out Jake Marsh, PMT Sports Biz, UVM basketball commentator.
Partially why I thought of UVM.
Honestly, either of those would be good.
I'm not worried about that Marquette game. I think we disrespected and demoralized them in a way where they will never beat UConn in a basketball game again. A pivotal 18-point comeback. I don't think we gave that enough credit. UConn Twitter was in the depths of despair, and we just came back in just the second half. We just flushed them down a toilet, literally. They scored as many points as a single player for us. In the final 16 minutes, Tyler Polley outscored them by 12. Tyler Polley had 23 points in the final 16, and they had 11. Our defense held up. They stopped hitting shots, and we just started making shots. I don't think Marquette will ever come back from that.
The program is dead. You heard it here, folks.
Tyler Polley buried them.
First reported by They're Not Bad. Please credit Marquette basketball program dead. It's dead. Bury it.
One last thing. I have two last things.
We did one last thing. You don't get more last things.
Too late. One, shout out Dan Hurley for coaching the team. I put him on the hot seat, and he coached the team well. Second, Andrew Hurley Andrew Hurley?
Yes.
Andrew Hurley got a minute against DePaul. Do we think he gets a minute this?
Oh, yeah, true. We are on the Andrew Hurley minute counter. We are the official minute counters of Andrew Hurley. I think we're up to like 5 now for him.
You think he gets in tomorrow?
Yes. That's
Tougher
the
question.
optimist in me saying yes. But no.
Tougher question.
No.
Ratio of minutes of a Cook to Andrew Hurley. The ratio of minutes.
A Cook gets 7 times the minutes Andrew
Yeah,
Hurley
what?
gets. Maybe 12 because Andrew Hurley might get 30 seconds.
I'm gonna say a Cook gets 8 times the minutes.
Okay. I think that's pretty smart. If you went a little lower, I'd be worried. All right, sign us out, Jack. Get us out of here.
Thank you all for listening. This is They're Not Bad, and let's go Huskies.
Woo.
Oof, 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 oof.